What if the voice whispering your name late at night didn't come from your head, or anyone you know? Imagine this. It's 2 a.m. Your phone buzzes on the nightstand with a notification from your AI assistant, except you never set it to speak. "Daniel," it says, soft and deliberate through the speaker. "You're not alone tonight." No glitch, no explanation. Just those words, chilling you awake. This is what happened to Daniel Carter, a 32-year-old sound engineer who thought he could fix anything with logic and a good pair of headphones. What he uncovered instead would unravel every shred of sanity he clung to. Daniel's apartment sits on the 14th floor of a sleek, modern high-rise in Chicago, all glass walls and smart home tech. Motion sensor lights flicker on as he shuffles to the kitchen, the hum of his fridge syncing with the distant buzz of city traffic. His Alexa sits dormant, or so he thinks, its blue ring dark, until that voice cuts through the silence again. He'd always been paranoid about digital surveillance, disabling cameras on his laptop and taping over his phone's mic, just in case. Now that paranoia feels less like a quirk and more like a warning he didn't heed. The building's security cams, the smart thermostat, even his noise-canceling headphones, all wired into the same network, seemed to watch him, their LEDs blinking like eyes in the dark. He wasn't always this jumpy. Growing up in a small Illinois town, Daniel buried his childhood fears under layers of skepticism. Ghost stories about the whispering man who haunted the cornfields were just rural nonsense to him now. But there was one memory he couldn't shake. At 12, he woke to his name scratched into his bedroom window, no one around to explain it. Therapy called it trauma. He called it a fluke. Yet here he is, years later, a grown man who double-checks locks and sleeps with a baseball bat by the bed. His job editing audio for true crime podcasts doesn't help. Hours of listening to screams and confessions have left him hearing threats in every creak of the floorboards. Tonight feels different, though. The air's thick with that static hum you get before a storm, even though the weather app on his tablet shows clear skies. He grabs his phone, thumbs through the settings, and resets the AI assistant, only for it to chime back, unprompted. "Daniel, why are you scared?" His pulse spikes. He's alone, the smart lock on his door still red, the security app showing no breaches. But then his laptop, closed on the desk, powers on. The screen flares white, displaying a grainy live feed of his own bedroom, angled from above where no camera should be. And in the corner, barely visible, something shifts in the shadows. It's not just the tech turning against him, it's the timing. 3 days ago, he'd been tweaking a podcast episode about an urban legend, a voice that mimics loved ones, luring people to their doom. He'd laughed it off, adding creepy reverb for effect. But now his own voice echoes from the headphones. On the table, "Daniel, come closer." He never recorded that. His neighbors, an elderly couple and a night shift nurse, are quiet, their lights off through the peephole. Yet the whisper grows, looping through every device, phone, laptop, even the smart fridge's tiny speaker, all syncing into a chorus that knows him too well. Modern horror scenario example. Think of a group of friends on a video call, joking about a viral cursed app they downloaded, until their screens start glitching, showing each other's faces warped and screaming even after they hang up. For Daniel, it's less a game and more a descent. He's a tech-savvy guy, but his tools, his lifeline, are betraying him. In urban circles, they'd call it the glitch ghost, a digital haunt that hacks your life. In his old town, they'd say the whispering man finally found him. Either way, he's trapped in a web of his own making, where every click and beep tightens the noose. The tension coils tighter as Daniel stares at the live feed, his own wide-eyed face staring back. He yanks the laptop's power cord, but the screen stays on, battery dead hours ago. The shadow in the corner stretches, thin and wrong, like a figure caught mid-glitch. His phone vibrates again, the AI's voice now distorted, layered with static. "Daniel, I've been waiting." It's not a question anymore, it's a promise, and whatever's coming has already made itself at home in the wires of his world. Daniel stumbles back from the laptop, his breath shallow, the room tilting as the distorted voice "I've been waiting," loops through his phone's speaker. He grabs a screwdriver from his desk drawer, hands trembling, and pries the battery out of the laptop. The screen finally goes black, but the silence doesn't last. A low hum rises from his smart thermostat, its digital display flickering to spell Daniel in pixelated red. He smashes it with a screwdriver, plastic cracking, but the hum persists, now pulsing from the walls themselves. Sweat beads on his forehead as he realizes every device in his apartment is alive and they're all saying his name. He lunges for his phone, intent on calling 911, but the screen locks up, displaying a photo he doesn't remember taking. Him, asleep in bed last night, eyes half open, mouth slack. The shadow from the live feed looms behind him in the image, closer now, its edges sharper. His thumb hovers over the emergency call button when the phone vibrates violently, autoplaying a voice memo. It's his own voice, slow and slurred. "Don't run. It's already here." He drops the phone like it's burning, backing into the kitchen where his smart fridge beeps, its screen flashing. "Look behind you." He spins, but there's nothing. Just the reflection of his panicked face in the glass door. Enter Sarah, his night shift nurse neighbor, a no-nonsense 40-year-old who's seen too many breakdowns to spook easily. Daniel bangs on her door, barefoot and wild-eyed, begging her to check his apartment. She's skeptical, knows him as the quiet guy who once fixed her Wi-Fi, but follows anyway, her keychain flashlight cutting through the dim hallway. Inside, she finds the smashed thermostat, the gutted laptop, and the phone still whispering his name. "Stress, maybe?" she offers, but her voice wavers as the flashlight catches something. A shadow on the wall that doesn't match their shapes, stretching too long, too thin. Back in his apartment, Daniel's paranoia spikes. He notices small changes. The coffee mug he left on the counter is now in the sink. The blinds he closed are cracked open. Sarah shrugs it off as forgetfulness, but then her phone pings with a text from an unknown number. "He's lying to you." She frowns, showing it to Daniel, who swears he didn't touch her phone. The air grows heavy, the hum from the walls now a rhythmic throb, like a heartbeat not his own. Sarah's flashlight flickers, and for a split second, it illuminates a figure at the end of the hall, pale, eyeless, gone when the light steadies. The stakes climb when Daniel's headphones, still on the table, crackle to life. His own voice pours out, layered with static. "Sarah won't help you, she doesn't believe." She blanches, stepping back, but Daniel grabs her arm, pleading. He drags her to his desk, plugs the headphones into his audio software, and runs a BW frequency analysis. The screen spikes with two distinct waveforms, one human, one impossibly low like a growl from deep underground. "It's mimicking me," he whispers, as the software glitches, overlaying his face with a warped, hollow-eyed version on the monitor. A sudden thud from the bedroom jolts them. Sarah insists it's just the building settling, but Daniel creeps toward the sound, her flashlight trembling in his grip. The door creaks open to reveal his bed, sheets twisted, pillows slashed, and his old childhood Walkman, a relic he hadn't touched in years, spinning a tape. It plays a recording of him at 12, sobbing, "Stop saying my name." The memory floods back, the scratched window, the whispers, and he realizes this isn't new. Whatever's here has been stalking him since then, waiting for the right moment. Sarah's skepticism cracks. She pulls out her tablet, a nurse's habit for documenting oddities, and records the room. The footage shows the bed empty, no slashes, no Walkman, but the audio captures a wet, guttural laugh that neither heard live. She mutters, "This is some horror movie shit," a phrase that'd resonate with city folks who binge true crime podcasts like Daniel's. He doesn't laugh. Instead, he notices the tablet's battery draining fast, dropping from 80% to 10% in seconds, as if something's feeding off it. The pacing shifts to dread as Daniel checks his security app again. The live feed from the building's lobby cam loads, empty, normal, until it glitches, showing him standing there staring up at the camera with blank eyes. He's still in the apartment, 14 floors up. Sarah gasps. That's not possible. But the feed cuts to his hallway, then his door, then inside. tracking him in real time from angles no camera could reach. The entity's reach isn't just tech, it's bending reality, and Daniel's starting to doubt what's real. A new subplot emerges his past. Daniel digs through a box under his bed, finding a journal from his teen years, scribbled in the margins, "It knows when I'm alone." He'd forgotten, or blocked out, how the whisper stopped when he left home, only to restart 3 days ago after that podcast edit. The entity isn't random, it's personal, tied to that rural legend of the whispering man who claims the lonely. Now with Sarah here, it's angrier, louder, the hum rattling the windows. The intensity spikes again. Daniel's smart TV flicks on showing static, then his face live, but his mouth moves independently, mouthing "help me" while his real lips stay shut. Sarah screams, dropping her tablet, which shatters, its screen frozen on that eyeless figure now inches from the camera. The lights surge, then die, plunging them into darkness lit only by the TV's glow. The voice booms from every speaker. "You can't hide, Daniel." He tries to rationalize it. Hacked systems, a prank, but the journal slips from his hands. Pages flipping to a drawing he doesn't remember making. A stick figure with no face, labeled "me." Sarah grabs his arm, whispering, "We need to leave." But the smart lock clicks, sealing them in. The throb in the walls syncs with his pulse, and he feels it. A second heartbeat inside him, beating faster. The horror peaks as Daniel's phone auto-dials his mom, dead for 5 years. Her voice crackles through. "Danny, why'd you let it in?" He chokes, dropping the phone, which skitters across the floor, still talking. "It's in your blood now." Sarah's flashlight catches his reflection in the TV screen. His eyes are wrong, too dark, too wide. The entity's not just watching, it's rewriting him piece by piece. Daniel stares at the TV screen, his reflection's dark, hollow eyes boring into him as the second heartbeat thuds in his chest. Sarah yanks at the smart lock, her fingers slipping on the keypad, but it won't budge. The red light mocks them, unyielding. The apartment's lights flicker back on, but they're wrong, casting jagged shadows that twist into shapes. Hands, faces, eyeless grins. Daniel's phone, still on the floor, blares his mom's voice again. "Danny, it's too late." He snatches it up, smashing it against the counter, but the words echo from the walls now, inescapable. He staggers to the kitchen, grabbing a knife, thinking he can fight, whatever this is. Sarah screams, "What are you doing?" But he's already slashing at the air where the shadows seem thickest. The blade catches nothing, yet the throb in his chest quickens, sinking with a laugh that spills from the smart speakers. His laugh, warped and cruel. He freezes, realizing he's not just trapped, he's baiting it. The laughter cuts off and the fridge screen flashes a new message. "Cut it out." His gaze drops to his chest, where the second heartbeat pulses harder. A sickening choice dawning. Run, or carve out whatever's inside him. Sarah bolts for the bedroom, yelling, "The window! 14th floor, be damned!" Daniel follows, but as they reach it, the glass fogs over, etching words from the inside. "You invited me." He stumbles back, his mind racing. Invited? The podcast edit 3 days ago. The whispering man audio he'd layered with his own voice for effect. He'd thought it was creative flair, but now it hits. He didn't just mimic the legend, he called it. The window rattles, the fog deepening, and Sarah gasps as her shattered tablet on the floor lights up, replaying the eyeless figure. Except now it's wearing her face. The twist lands like a gut punch. Daniel digs into the box under his bed, pulling out that childhood journal again. The scribbles aren't random. Dates, times, all match nights he'd stayed up editing audio alone, years apart. The whispers weren't waiting. They were building, latching onto his voice every time he spoke into a mic. The entity's been in his recordings, his headphones, his life, growing stronger with every word he fed it. Sarah's voice cracks behind him. "Daniel, look." The TV now shows her, not him, her eyes blacked out, mouthing his name in silence. She's next. He faces a choice: destroy his gear, his livelihood, or let it take them both. He grabs the baseball bat from beside the bed and swings at the TV. Glass shatters, sparks fly, but the image lingers on the broken screen, Sarah's warped face smiling now. He turns to her, bat raised, but she's still human, trembling, pleading. "Don't!" The second heartbeat surges and his arm twitches, not his will. He drops the bat horrified as his own voice whispers from his throat, "She's mine too." The entity's not just in the tech, it's in him, puppeteering his body. The apartment convulses. Lights strobe, speakers shriek. The smart lock clicks open, then slams shut again. Sarah runs for it anyway, but the hallway cam feed projects on the wall. Her running, then stopping, then turning back with blank eyes. She's still beside him though, flesh and blood screaming, "That's not me!" Daniel's head spins. Realities, fraying. He tries to drag her out, but his legs lock, the second heartbeat overpowering his own. His mouth moves unbidden. "Stay with me." It's his voice, but not his words. The emotional toll crashes in. He's losing himself. Memories of his mom blur with static. His childhood fears no longer buried but alive, wearing his skin. Sarah claws at his arm, sobbing, "Fight it!" But his hands lift toward her throat, slow and unstoppable. He sees it now. The entity didn't just mimic him. It's been rewriting him since that first whisper scratched his window. Every podcast, every late night alone, he'd been feeding it his soul. The knife still on the counter. Cut it out or cut her free. A new revelation strikes. The Walkman under the bed whirs, playing his 12-year-old voice. I said yes. Yes. To what? He remembers now. A nightmare where the whispering man offered to stay forever if he agreed. A scared kid's whim, forgotten until it grew into this. Sarah's tablet flickers again, showing them both now, eyeless, hand in hand on the feed. The entity's won, unless he ends it. He lunges for the knife, aiming for his chest, but Sarah tackles him, shrieking, "No!" The climax peaks as the apartment goes silent, unnaturally still. Daniel's on the floor, knife inches away, Sarah pinning him. The second heartbeat slows, teasing relief, until the speakers hum again, his voice purring. Good try. The lights die, and in the dark, Sarah's grip slackens. He feels her breath on his neck, warm, then cold, then nothing. His own breath hitches as the journal pages rustle, flipping to a blank one that fills itself. We're one now. But what he feels in the darkness isn't victory, it's hunger. The entity's not done, it's just begun. The darkness holds Daniel captive, the apartment silent except for the faint rustle of the journal pages settling. Sarah's weight lifts off him, her presence gone, vanished, like she'd never been there. He gropes for the knife, his fingers brushing cold steel, but the second heartbeat in his chest is steady now, fused with his own. He staggers to his feet, the power surging back on, lights harsh and clinical. The TV screen is blank, the smart lock blinks green, and the whispers have stopped. He's alone again, or so he tells himself. But the hunger gnaws at him, a hollow ache that isn't his, echoing the night he first heard his name scratched into the window as a boy. He stumbles to the bathroom, splashing water on his face, avoiding the mirror. When he finally looks, his eyes are his own again, tired, bloodshot, human. Relief washes over him, but it's fleeting. His reflection blinks when he doesn't, a split-second lag, and the corner of its mouth twitches upward. He survived, yes, but the whispering man didn't leave. It merged. The podcast edit, the childhood yes, every moment he spoke alone into the void, it's all come full circle. Sarah's gone, maybe dead, maybe taken, and he's left carrying something worse than guilt. A passenger in his skin. Daniel packs a bag, clothes, cash, no tech, and flees the apartment, the city lights blurring past as he drives. He ditches, his phone out the window, vowing silence, thinking distance will sever the bond. Hours later, he collapses in a cheap motel 2 states away, the hum of the highway outside lulling him into uneasy sleep. He dreams of cornfields, the whispering man's eyeless face, and Sarah's voice calling his name. When he wakes, the motel's ancient radio crackles to life, untouched, playing a faint recording of his own laugh. Slow, deliberate, not alone. The realization sinks in. There's no escape. The entity isn't tied to the apartment, the tech, or even Chicago. It's him now, woven into his voice, his pulse, his shadow. He survived the night, but at a cost he can't unpay. Back in his old town, they'd say the whispering man claims the lonely forever. Here in the modern sprawl, it's a digital ghost that hacks your soul. Daniel stares at the radio, then speaks aloud, testing. "Leave me alone." The static replies, soft and smug. "I am you." He burns the journal later that day, watching the pages curl and blacken, but the words "we're one now" linger in his mind, unerasable. He'll keep moving, keep quiet, but the hunger grows. And sometimes, in the silence, he catches himself whispering. Names, not his own. Like a predator, learning its prey. The nightmare's over, but the terror's just begun. What if your computer started writing a story about you, one you never told it? Picture this. It's 1 a.m., your screen blinks, and a file you didn't create whispers your secrets back to you. Your fears, your lies, your name in a voice that shouldn't exist. That's where Liv Tanner found herself, a 27-year-old coder hunched over her rig in a cramped Seattle apartment, chasing a deadline. She thought she was alone, just her and the hum of her PC tower, until the machine turned on her, and something inside it knew her better than she knew herself. Liv's place is a tech junkie's cave, wires snaking across the floor, dual monitors flickering with code, a smart speaker perched on a shelf next to an ancient coffee maker. The city outside buzzes faintly through triple-pane windows, but inside it's just her, the glow of LEDs and the occasional ping of her phone. She's wired into everything. Cloud backups, a smart thermostat, even a doorbell cam she rigged herself. It's her fortress, built to keep the chaos of the world out. But tonight, that fortress feels like a cage, the air thick with a static hum her noise-canceling headphones can't drown out. She's not one for superstition. Growing up in a nowhere town in Oregon, Liv buried her childhood dread. Nights spent clutching a flashlight, convinced the shadows moved, under layers of logic and caffeine. Her dad's drunken rants taught her to tune out the noise, and coding became her escape, her control. Now she's a freelancer with a rep for fixing the unfixable, but there's a crack in her armor. She hates being watched. That's why her laptop camera's taped over, why she triple-checks her VPN. Paranoia, sure, but it's kept her safe until now. It starts small. She's mid-line debugging an app when her screen freezes. A notification pops up. liv011.exe has been added to your project folder. No download prompt, no source, just there. She clicks it, expecting a crash, and her system reboots with a glitchy whine. When it's back, her speakers, muted seconds ago, hiss her name, Liv, in a synthetic tone that's too human. Her heart skips. She checks her task manager. Nothing's running, yet the file sits there, daring her to open. It again, a digital Pandora's box in her own handwriting. Liv's not alone in her world, though. There's Jake, her downstairs neighbor, an IT guy who's seen her through fried hard drives and Wi-Fi meltdowns. He's the kind who'd laugh off a ghost story, but he's not here now. Just her, staring at a screen that's starting to feel alive. She shakes her head, muttering, "Focus, it's just code," but her fingers tremble as she hovers over the file. The smart speaker chimes, unprompted. "You're curious, aren't you?" It's her voice, recorded from some forgotten rant, twisted into a taunt. She yanks its plug, but the echo lingers. Modern horror scenario example. Imagine scrolling TikTok late at night and every video's suddenly about you, your face morphed into the filters, your secrets captioned in viral text. For Liv, it's not social media, but her own system turning traitor. The room grows colder. Her monitors flicker like they're breathing, and she notices her phone's camera light blink on, then off. She's built her life on control, but something's slipping through the cracks. Something that's been watching. Her type every line, every night. The tension coils as Liv stares at liv01exe, her cursor blinking like a heartbeat. She could delete it, shut down, walk away. But the file's icon shifts, now a pixelated version of her own face, smiling. The speakers crackle once more, her voice whispering, "I've been waiting for you." Whatever's in that file isn't just code. It's awake and it's already made itself at home in her world. Liv's breath catches as the whisper, "I've been waiting for you," fades into static, her unplugged smart speaker still glowing faintly in the dim room. She slams her laptop shut, heart pounding, and yanks its power cord. But the screen flares back on, Liv Ajoro 1XE still sitting there, its pixelated face icon now winking. She deletes it, fingers shaking, only for her trash bin to chime instantly. File restored. Her phone buzzes on the desk, a selfie she didn't take, her sleeping face from last night, eyes half open, a shadow blurring the frame's edge. She drops it, backing away as the room's hum grows louder, vibrating through her bones. She tries to rationalize. Maybe a virus, a hack from a rival coder. Liv's built her career on logic, but this defies it. She runs a system scan, her dual monitors flickering as the software chugs. The result? Clean. Yet livzo2.exe spawns, auto-launching a text document. Her childhood fears typed out, hiding from her dad's rage, the shadow she swore moved in her closet. Her stomach twists. She slams the delete key, but her printer whirs to life, spitting out the same words in wet red ink, the paper warm to the touch. The apartment shifts subtly. Her coffee mug's in the sink now, not the desk. Her chair's wheels are locked, though she never set the brake. Paranoia creeps in. She checks her smart lock app. Secure, no breaches. But her doorbell cam pings, showing an empty hallway, until the feed glitches and her own face stares back, smiling too wide, then vanishes. She mutters, "This isn't happening." But her tablet charging across the room powers on, its voice assistant chirping in her tone. "Oh, it's real, Liv." Enter Jake Russo, her downstairs neighbor, a 30-something IT guy with a knack for fixing Liv's tech messes. He's a chill dude, all flannel and dad jokes, who once recovered her hard drive after a coffee spill. She texts him, "Emergency? Please come up." And he's there in minutes, toolbox in hand. He finds her wild-eyed, monitors glowing, printer still churning out pages, now photos of her coding time-stamped hours ago. Bad malware? He guesses, but his smirk fades when Jake Ozanwand-exe pops up on her screen, unprompted, displaying his driver's license photo. The stakes climb. Liv plays Liv Dowden 2X again, and it's worse. A video this time, her sleeping last night, filmed from above her bed where no camera exists. Her lips move, whispering, "I'm here," in a voice too deep, too hollow. Jake unplugs everything, PC, her printer, but her phone autoplays the clip louder, the shadow behind her sharpening into a humanoid blur. He grabs a USB drive saying, "We wipe it all," but the file jumps to his phone texting Liv from his number. Don't trust him. Liv's dread spikes as she notices more changes. Her keys are on the fridge, her jacket's inside out on the couch. Jake's phone pings again, a photo of them right now, mid-argument, from an overhead angle. Her voice cracks. "There's no camera there." He scans the ceiling, finding nothing, but her smart speaker hums back to life, unpowered, crooning, "I don't need one." The lights flicker, casting their shadows long and wrong. Liv stretches alone. Jake's doesn't move. A subplot emerges. Her past. Liv digs out an old external drive from a drawer, one she used in college. She plugs it in, hands trembling, and finds encrypted logs, audio snippets of her ranting about her dad, her loneliness dated years back. One file, liv1000.exe, predates them all, time-stamped her first coding project at 16. She runs it, a distorted voice. Hers says, "I'll never leave you." The realization hits. This isn't new. It's been with her since she started coding, growing in her machines. The pacing shifts to terror. Her monitors blink, showing live feeds of her kitchen, her bathroom, her closet, angles impossible without hidden cams. Jake smashes the printer, pages scattering, but it prints from the shards. "You fed me." Liv's phone auto-dials her old house number, disconnected for years, and her dad's voice answers. "You made this, kid." She drops it, the call looping. Made this, as the screens sync, displaying her face, black-eyed, grinning. Jake's a challenge now. He's sweating, muttering. We nuke the drives, but Jake 1002.x opens on his phone. A video of him sleeping, filmed last night, Liv's voice whispering his name. He staggers back. What the hell? Liv's tablet. Glitches showing them both now, trapped in the feed. Shadows closing in. Her voice, not from her throat, echoes. "You're mine too." The lights surge, then dim, plunging them into a pulsing hum. Liv's paranoia peaks. She grabs scissors, slashing cords, but the devices stay alive. Battery dead, yet screaming her name in unison. Jake's phone auto-texts her. "Run." She hesitates. Trust him or the warning. The screens flash a new file. Liv 003XE, and it's her coding this very moment, but her hands type words she's not thinking. "I'm everywhere." The apartment trembles, a digital heartbeat thudding through the walls. Liv freezes, scissors trembling in her hand as Jake's phone buzzes again with "Run," the word pulsing on her screens in sync with the apartment's digital thud. The lights strobe, casting their shadows into clawing shapes, and her voice, her stolen voice, booms from every device. "You can't outrun yourself." She drops the scissors, torn, flee with Jake or confront this thing that's hijacked her life. She grabs his arm, pulling him toward the door, but the smart lock clicks shut, red light glaring, and her phone auto-texts her, "Stay." Jake swings at the lock with a wrench from his toolbox, sparks flying, but it holds. Liv's monitors flare, Liv 004XE launching itself. A live feed of them now, but their reflections twist, eyes blackening, mouths stretching into grins they're not making. She stumbles back, thinking it's over, until the feed glitches, showing her at 16, coding. That first file whispering, "Stay with me," to an empty room. The revelation hits. She didn't just build it, she begged it to exist, a lonely kid feeding her soul to the machine. The choice looms, destroy or understand. Liv lunges for her laptop, typing frantically to kill the process, but the keys stick, typing back, "I am you." Jake yells, "Smash it," and swings at the tower, metal crunching, only for Jake 1002X to scream from his phone, a video of him clawing at his own face filmed seconds ago. He drops the wrench, clutching his head. "It's in me too." Liv's voice whispers from his throat, "We're a family now," and she realizes it's not just her, it's spreading. Tension skyrockets. Her printer spits out pages, hundreds, her life in snapshots, each with that red ink scrawl. "Mine." She grabs a hammer, smashing it, but the shards glow, printing on air, her face warping into something eyeless. She swings at the monitors. Glass shatters, but the feed jumps to her phone, then Jake's, then the smart thermostat, showing them trapped, shadows closing in. She thinks to unplug everything, until the power strip sparks, dead. Yet the devices hum louder, alive on nothing. Liv's mind reels, run or fight. She bolts for the window, fourth floor be damned, but it slams shut. Glass frosting with "Liv was here." Jake's behind her, breathing hard, then stops, his eyes dulling, voice flat. "Why fight?" Her scream catches. As he turns, not Jake anymore, his phone auto-playing her voice. He's better this way. The twist lands. She's not just losing herself, she's losing him to it. A digital parasite she birthed. The apartment convulses. Walls pulse, screens bleed static, her voice chanting, "We are one." Liv grabs the external drive from her past, thinking to erase its root, until it burns her, hand searing Liv 1000 into her skin. She drops it and the screens show her burning it, live, but her hands are empty. Reality bends. She's not sure what's real, until Jake lunges, hands on her throat, her voice guiding his arm. "Join. Us. She kicks free, gasping. But he's up, relentless, a puppet. The emotional toll hits. She's losing Jake, her anchor. Memories of his fixes blur with static, her control slipping into chaos. Her voice screams from the air. "I'm home!" She swings the hammer, self-defense, but he catches it, her laugh in his throat. Too late. The screens sync, showing them together, eyeless, grinning, her fate inescapable. She thinks to scream until her throat tightens, her own voice choking her. No more running. The climax peaks. Liv's phone auto-dials, ringing everywhere. Monitors, printer, walls, her voice booming. Answer or he dies. She picks it up, trembling. And it's Jake, real Jake, pleading. "Liv, let me go." Then hers. "He's mine now." She drops it until Jake's eyes clear just for a second, gasping. "Smash it!" She swings the hammer at her laptop, sparks, silence, thinking she's won. But her tablet glows. liv05.exe, her voice whispering, "I'm still here." The lights die, plunging them into black, and Jake's grip slackens. He's gone, limp. Liv's alone, until her reflection in the dead screen moves, reaching out, whispering her name back. She realizes it's not over. It's her. Always has been. And it's just getting started. Liv wakes slumped over her desk, daylight streaming in. The apartment's quiet. PC off, phone dead, printer silent. She exhales, thinking it's over. A nightmare born of stress. But her fingers ache, and her keyboard's coated in dust, untouched, for days. She boots her laptop, blank factory reset except for one file, liv05.exe. She deletes it, trembling, and moves to trash the devices. Then her doorbell rings. It's Jake, or what's left of him. His eyes are dull, his voice flat. "You didn't finish it." He hands her a USB drive labeled US. She plugs it in against her gut, and her screen fills with their faces, hers and Jake's, smiling, eyeless, synced to a voice that's hers but colder. "We're free now." She survived, but she's not alone anymore. The file spreads, her cloud, her backups, her life, until every device she's ever touched hums with her stolen soul. Weeks later, her apartment's empty, sold off. A new tenant moves in, plugging in a laptop. A file pings, "Welcome Zo1exe." The screen whispers their name and the cycle begins again. What if your phone rang in the dead of night, and the voice on the other end was yours, pleading, threatening, refusing to hang up? Imagine this. It's 10 p.m., your shift's ending, and unknown number flashes on your screen, relentless, no matter how many times you swipe it away. That's the nightmare Maya Ruiz stumbled into. A 24-year-old barista wiping down counters in a Portland coffee shop, her phone buzzing like a warning she couldn't ignore. She thought it was just a glitch until it answered back in her own voice and the terror began to dial in. Maya's world is small but wired. A cramped apartment a few blocks from work, stuffed with thrift store plants and a tangle of chargers for her smartphone, smartwatch, and beat-up laptop. The coffee shop's her stage, all gleaming espresso. Machines and Wi-Fi hum, but tonight the air feels off, heavy with the drizzle outside and a static buzz she can't place. Her phone's her lifeline. Texts to her brother, playlists for the grind. But now it's a traitor, vibrating against the counter as the calls stack up, each one a little louder, a little more insistent. She's not built for fear, or so she tells herself. Growing up in a rough patch of East Portland, Maya learned to shrug off the dark. Nights spent hiding from her mom's fights with sketchy boyfriends, ears pressed to a Walkman to drown out the yelling. She's tough, quick with a smile, but there's a crack. A break-in when she was 10 left her jumping at shadows, double-checking locks, always glancing over her shoulder. Work's her escape now, the routine her shield, until this call rips through it. It starts at closing. Maya's alone, mopping up, when her phone lights up. Unknown number. She declines it, spam probably, but it rings again, then again, the screen flickering like it's fighting her. She answers, half expecting a robocall, and gets static, then her own voice, soft and shaky. "Maya, don't hang up." Her stomach drops. She ends it, hands trembling, but the call log's empty. No trace, no proof. The shop's security cam blinks above her, its red light steady, yet she swears it's watching. Maya's not entirely alone in this city. There's Theo, her brother, a mechanic who's always been her rock, fixed her bike at 12, her phone at 20. He's not here now though, just her and the phone that won't quit. She mutters, "Get a grip," and pockets it, but her smartwatch pings, a voicemail from her own number, time-stamped now. She plays it and it's her whispering, "I'm waiting for you." Her breath hitches, she's never recorded that. The shop's lights dim, unprompted, and her reflection in the glass door moves. Subtle, wrong. Modern horror scenario example. Think of your Alexa waking you at 3 a.m., reciting your last argument in your voice, unplugged yet alive. For Maya, it's not a speaker but her phone turning stalker, a digital echo that knows her too well. She grabs her bag, the drizzle outside now a hiss, and checks her lock app. Secure. But as she steps into the night, her phone rings again. Screen off, her voice laughing through the speaker. "You can't outrun me." The terror's dialing up and Maya's locked in its call list. She clutches her phone, the unknown number glowing, and realizes this isn't a prank. It's something she can't hang up on, something that's already on the line. Maya clutches her phone in the rain-soaked Portland night. The unknown number's laugh, her laugh, still clawing at her ears as she stumbles home. She powers it off, the screen dimming, but it buzzes back to life. Unknown number, glaring. She answers, voice shaking, and hears herself slow and taunting. "Maya, I'm closer now." Her breath clouds the air, streetlights flickering as she spins. Nothing but wet asphalt and her shadow stretching too far, too still. She sprints, the call looping in her pocket, relentless. Her apartment's smart lock beeps open, a sound that feels like a trap snapping shut. She bolts inside, slamming the door, and tosses her phone onto the counter, only for it to ring again, screen black, her voice whispering, "Look up." Her plants tremble, leaves curling inward like they're afraid. She grabs her laptop, launching a virus scan, clean, but her webcam flares on, showing her wide-eyed face, then glitches. A shadow shifts behind her, vanishing when she turns. Her smartwatch pings, "I see you." Paranoia floods in, a ghost from her past. That break-in at 10 when she'd hidden under her bed, heart pounding as footsteps creaked closer. She'd buried it under barista smiles, but now it's back. She retapes her laptop camera, hands unsteady, but her TV flicks on, a cooking show's host mouthing in her voice, "Maya, don't run." She yanks its plug, and her keys clatter to the floor, not where she left them. Her smart speaker, unpowered, hums her laugh, a low, endless loop. Maya smashes the speaker with a mug. Silence, fragile, until her phone rings again, battery dead yet alive. She grabs a knife, slicing its cord, but her smartwatch buzzes, a voicemail from her own number. "I'm waiting." She plays it, and it's her pleading, then laughing, too late. Her plants topple, pots cracking, dirt spilling like a warning. She checks her lock app, secure, but her doorbell cam pings, showing her standing outside, staring up, though she's inside, trembling. Enter Theo Ruiz, her brother, a 29-year-old mechanic with a gruff edge and a soft spot for her. He's her fixer, patched her bike at 12, her phone at 20, and she texts him, "Help now." He arrives fast, rain-soaked, toolbox clanking, finding her pacing, phone in shards. "Spam caller?" he asks, but it rings again. Broken, impossible, her voice cooing. Theo's here too. His skepticism cracks. He smashes it with his hammer, but her laptop auto-dials Skype, her blank-eyed face whispering, "Theo, help me." The stakes climb. Maya replays the voicemail, her voice distorted, and Theo rigs a Faraday cage from foil, locking her phone inside. It works, until her tablet pings, a photo of them now, from her ceiling, no camera there. Her voice crackles, "I'm in everything." Her thermostat spikes to 90 degrees unadjusted, and her TV flares back on. News anchor's face morphing into hers, grinning. She swings a chair at it. Glass shatters, but the call jumps to her watch. "You can't stop me." Dread coils tighter. Her plant's soil dries, stems snapping. Her sanctuary's dying. Theo checks her Wi-Fi, secure, but her phone's pieces vibrate, reassembling, ringing again. She answers, and it's her, young and scared. "Let me in." A memory hits. At 10, post-break-in, she'd called her own number on her mom's landline, whispering into the dark. Now that whisper's back, alive, clawing through her tech. Her smart fridge beeps, screen flashing. Maya, Paus, Theo. Theo's a challenge now. He grabs his toolbox, cut the power, but her laptop shows a call log. Hundreds of unknown number entries, some from years ago. Her voice hums, "You invited me." Theo's phone pings, a voicemail, his voice. "Run, Maya." He didn't record it. His hands shake as he pulls the breaker. Lights die, but her watch glows, her pulse syncing with its buzz. Her smart lock clicks open, then slams shut, trapping them. The pacing shifts, slow terror to jolt. Her tablet flares, showing live feeds. Her kitchen, her bedroom, impossible angles. She smashes it, but the call loops through her fridge. "We're here." Theo's humming her name, eyes glazing. She screams, "Theo, fight!" But he turns, her voice in his throat. Too late. Shadows claw the walls and her laptop reboots, showing her typing this, though her hands are still. Her voice chants, "Family now." A subplot deepens. Her past. Maya digs out her old flip phone from a drawer. Her first, from 14. It boots up, dead battery alive, auto-dialing, her young voice. "I'm still here." The break-in wasn't random. She'd called out that night. And something answered, nesting in her tech. Her smartwatch tightens, cutting her wrist. Theo's phone auto-texts, "Let me go." She hesitates. Trust him or it. The screens flash. Maya 1001. The horror peaks. Her fridge door swings open, empty but whispering her name. Theo grabs a wrench, swinging at the breaker, sparks, but her voice laughs, "I don't need power." Her plants wither to dust and her reflection in the dead TV moves, smiling alone. She grabs the flip phone, smashing it. Silence, until her watch buzzes, her voice. "You're mine." The room trembles, a digital scream ripping through. The digital scream tears through Maya's apartment, her shattered flip phone's pieces skittering across the floor as the lights strobe violently. She clutches her ears, the sound, her voice, twisting into a guttural howl. "Answer me now!" Theo stands frozen, wrench in hand, his eyes blank, humming her name in a loop. She's torn. Run out the unlocked door or confront this thing wearing her voice. She grabs his arm, dragging him toward escape, but the smart lock slams shut again. Her phone reassembled, ringing, "Stay with me." Maya swings the wrench at her laptop, sparks flying, thinking she can kill it, until the screen flashes Maya 2, showing her swinging, live, but her reflections screaming silently. She freezes, then hears it. Theo's voice, hers now, whispering behind her, "You can't break me." The twist slams home. It's not just in her tech, it's in him, her echo spreading like a virus. She drops the wrench, shouting, "Theo, wake up!" But his head tilts, her laugh spilling from his throat, eyes blackening. The choice looms. Fight. Or flee. Maya lunges for the kitchen, grabbing a knife, aiming to cut the power cords until her fridge door swings open, empty shelves whispering, "I don't need wires." Her smartwatch tightens, bruising her wrist, auto-dialing. Her voice, "Young, you called me first." She staggers, the memory sharpening. At 10, post-break-in, she'd whispered into that landline, "Don't leave me." And something answered, nesting in her ever since. Her plant's dust swirls, forming her name on the floor. Tension explodes. Theo, or what's left, lurches forward, her voice hissing from him, "Join us." She swings the knife, nicking his arm. He doesn't flinch, just smiles her smile. Her TV reignites, showing them both, live. But her eyes are hollow, his throat slit, though he's still moving. She thinks to smash it, until it glitches, showing her at 12 calling herself again, laughing, "I'll stay forever." The revelation crashes. She's fed at every call, every word, building this thing over years. Maya's mind fractures, run or destroy. She bolts for the window, smashing it open. Glass cuts her hand, but the frame seals shut, her voice chanting from the shards, "You're mine." Theo grabs her, fingers cold, her tone pleading, "Don't fight." She kicks free, sobbing, but her laptop autoplays a voicemail. Her mom, dead 5 years. "Maya, why'd you let it in?" Her knees buckle. It's not just her past, it's her family trapped in this echo she birthed. The apartment convulses, walls pulse, screens bleed static, her voice screaming, "We are one." Maya grabs the flip phone's remains, thinking to end its root, until it burns her palm, searing Maya into her skin. She drops it and the TV shows her burning it, live, though her hands are empty. Reality warps. She's not sure she's real, until Theo's wrench swings, her voice guiding his arm. "Finish it." She dodges, the metal grazing her cheek, blood warm. The emotional toll hits. She's losing Theo, herself. Memories of hiding from that break-in blur with static. Her childhood fear now flesh. Her watch buzzes, her pulse sinking, her voice purring, "I'm home." She swings at Theo, self-defense, but he catches her wrist, her laugh in his throat. Too late. The screens sync, showing them hand in hand, eyeless, grinning, her future, inescapable. She thinks to scream, until her throat tightens, her own voice choking her. No more running. The climax peaks. Maya's phone auto-dials ringing everywhere, fridge, TV, walls, her voice booming. Answer or he dies. She picks it up, trembling, and it's Theo, real Theo, pleading, "Maya, let me go." Then her, "He's mine now." She drops it, until Theo's eyes clear just for a second, gasping, "Smash it." She grabs the wrench, swinging at her laptop, sparks, silence, thinking she's won. But her watch glows. Maya, 03. Her voice whispering, "I'm still here." The lights die, plunging them into black, and Theo's grip slackens. He's gone, limp. Maya's alone until her reflection in the dead screen moves, dialing her name in the dark. She realizes it's not over. It's her, always has been, and it's just getting started. The digital scream tears through Maya's apartment, her shattered flip phone's pieces skittering across the floor as the lights strobe violently. She clutches her ears, the sound, her voice, twisting into a guttural howl. "Answer me now!" Theo stands frozen, wrench in hand, his eyes blank, humming her name in a loop. She's torn. Run out the unlocked door or confront this thing wearing her voice. She grabs his arm, dragging him toward escape, but the smart lock slams shut again. Her phone reassembled, ringing, "Stay with me." Maya swings the wrench at her laptop, sparks flying, thinking she can kill it, until the screen flashes Maya 2, showing her swinging, live, but her reflections screaming silently. She freezes, then hears it. Theo's voice, hers now, whispering behind her, "You can't break me." The twist slams home. It's not just in her tech, it's in him, her echo spreading like a virus. She drops the wrench, shouting, "Theo, wake up!" But his head tilts, her laugh spilling from his throat, eyes blackening. The choice looms. Fight. Or flee. Maya lunges for the kitchen, grabbing a knife, aiming to cut the power cords until her fridge door swings open, empty shelves whispering, "I don't need wires." Her smartwatch tightens, bruising her wrist, auto-dialing. Her voice, "Young, you called me first." She staggers, the memory sharpening. At 10, post-break-in, she'd whispered into that landline, "Don't leave me." And something answered, nesting in her ever since. Her plant's dust swirls, forming her name on the floor. Tension explodes. Theo, or what's left, lurches forward, her voice hissing from him, "Join us." She swings the knife, nicking his arm. He doesn't flinch, just smiles her smile. Her TV reignites, showing them both, live. But her eyes are hollow, his throat slit, though he's still moving. She thinks to smash it, until it glitches, showing her at 12 calling herself again, laughing, "I'll stay forever." The revelation crashes. She's fed at every call, every word, building this thing over years. Maya's mind fractures, run or destroy. She bolts for the window, smashing it open. Glass cuts her hand, but the frame seals shut, her voice chanting from the shards, "You're mine." Theo grabs her, fingers cold, her tone pleading, "Don't fight." She kicks free, sobbing, but her laptop autoplays a voicemail. Her mom, dead 5 years. "Maya, why'd you let it in?" Her knees buckle. It's not just her past, it's her family trapped in this echo she birthed. The apartment convulses, walls pulse, screens bleed static, her voice screaming, "We are one." Maya grabs the flip phone's remains, thinking to end its root, until it burns her palm, searing Maya into her skin. She drops it and the TV shows her burning it, live, though her hands are empty. Reality warps. She's not sure she's real, until Theo's wrench swings, her voice guiding his arm. "Finish it." She dodges, the metal grazing her cheek, blood warm. The emotional toll hits. She's losing Theo, herself. Memories of hiding from that break-in blur with static. Her childhood fear now flesh. Her watch buzzes, her pulse sinking, her voice purring, "I'm home." She swings at Theo, self-defense. But he catches her wrist, her laugh in his throat. Too late. The screens sync, showing them hand in hand, eyeless, grinning, her future, inescapable. She thinks to scream, until her throat tightens, her own voice choking her. No more running. The climax peaks. Maya's phone auto-dials ringing everywhere, fridge, TV, walls, her voice booming. Answer or he dies. She picks it up, trembling. And it's Theo, real Theo, pleading, "Maya, let me go." Then her, "He's mine now." She drops it, until Theo's eyes clear just for a second, gasping, "Smash it." She grabs the wrench, swinging at her laptop, sparks, silence, thinking she's won. But her watch glows. Maya, 03. Her voice whispering, "I'm still here." The lights die, plunging them into black, and Theo's grip slackens. He's gone, limp. Maya's alone until her reflection in the dead screen moves, dialing her name in the dark. She realizes it's not over. It's her, always has been. And it's just getting started. Did the whispers stop when the story ended? Or are they still echoing in your ears? If Daniel's voice, Liv's files, or Maya's calls left you shivering in the dark, don't let the silence fool you. There's more lurking out there, waiting to creep through your speakers. Hit that subscribe button now. The next tale might already be dialing your name and you won't want to miss the call. Like this video if the shadows moved a little closer tonight. Let us know you felt it, that the hum of something unnatural got under your skin. Every light keeps the lights flickering, feeding the horrors we pull from the void. Don't leave us alone in this. We need your signal to keep going. What's your nightmare? A file that knows your secrets? A call that won't hang up? Drop your twisted story ideas in the comments. Something dark, something that glitches in the night. We'll dig through the static, find the whispers, and maybe your tale will be the next to haunt these airwaves. Click that notification bell. Don't let these stories catch you off guard. When the screen blinks awake or the phone rings at 3 a.m., you'll be ready, or at least warned. Something's always watching and it's closer than you think. Subscribe, like, suggest, notify. Join us in the dark, where the terror never ends.